Despite my positivity, I'm fascinated by negative narratives. You know, like, is rap music dying? Is AI going to replace all musicians? But one of these I find more interesting because it seems more curious, which is the death of bands. I watch a fair amount of Rick Beato, my Western New York brother. Actually drove through Fairport yesterday going to a corn maze. How fall can you get? And he had a video 3 weeks ago all about the death of bands. Now, he put it in the context of chart performance. So he quoted a study in England that pointed out that only a #1 song in the UK charts has only been by a band for 3 weeks out of all 5 years of this decade. And those bands were Little Mix and the Beatles, okay? Not exactly the best sign. He did his own study of the top 400 on Spotify, created an interesting metric where he wanted to see how many bands created in the last 10 years. So get out of here, Coldplay and Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know, like, get out of here, Radiohead. How many bands created in the last 10 years are on the top 400 streams in Spotify? Did you see the video? It was good. It was interesting. 3. Only 3. So that is pretty convincing that bands don't work. And he gave a bunch of reasons why. Most of them were sort of market-driven and money-driven. But my favorite one is where he just told the truth. Band dynamics. Being in a band is hard. As he says, forming and maintaining a band is challenging due to interpersonal conflicts. Now, I can't speak to the charts. I don't really care about the charts. But I'm fascinated by the idea of band conflict, and especially this week where we have the Jordy Griep album, which is a guy in a great, very new band who's broken off and doing his own thing. And then we have this, The Smile, which is a duo project from Radiohead. Now listen, you tell me in the comments, what other duo projects have there ever been? So a solo project is Jordy Griep breaking off of Black Midi and having his own band. A duo project is when 2 members of a band break off and then start another band. And that's what makes this so interesting, is like, this would count in Beato's system. You know, this is a band that was created in the last 10 years, but are they a band? Are they really a band? Or are they a solo project of 2 competing inventors and geniuses? That's what I want to talk about. You know, like, what is it? What are they telling us by the fact that they released a second album in a year? I mean, Radiohead released 2 albums within a year, but that was just 1 double album. And it's like, how are these 2 great people, these 2 great artists who have made their living, made their life, positively impacted the world with their creations and their gifts to culture, these 2 competing forces, how are they able to make so much together while at the same time completely incapable of making anything together? You see what I'm saying? And what I want to get at here, and what I think makes this album, Cutouts by The Smile, so good, is I think it really shows a growth. I think it shows them becoming a band. And what makes bands the most interesting to me is that conflict that Rick Beato was talking about. It's these competing interests. That's what makes it so interesting. Solo projects are great. They are. But it's the competing instincts when artists are pulling in different directions together. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who took forever to figure out if that sentence works. Pulling in different directions together. I think it does work, and I think that's, when you think about great bands, that's what you think about. Obviously, Beatles are on my mind, and they are maybe the best example of what I'm talking about, where you have John's instincts, which are competing against George's instincts, which are competing against Paul's instincts, and when they were all together, they were pulling together in different directions. This is the 3rd time I'm talking. This is like the 8th time I've talked about The Smile. You know, I'm a huge Radiohead fan. I've had this channel since 2018. I haven't reviewed a single Radiohead album, right? They haven't released anything. So I've really just been having to settle with The Smile. And but, you know, the whole last video I really went into, you know, what do we lose as Radiohead fans with The Smile? What do we gain? And really, I think this really is proof that this is not just a vanity project or a side project or just a little light and breezy thing that they just kick out. The image that I've often had is that like we have these two greats and they can't get out of their own heads and they can't break out of this whole dynamic. So like Tom Skinner, this drummer, this young guy, is like a couples therapist or like a third member of a couple to spice things up or something. I don't know what. There's something weirdly interesting about this idea of these men, these almost old men working together and finding this new spark with just this young guy who they're able to work together. And that's what I think brings this cohesion, is that instead of having the weight of Johnny Greenwood, Tom York working together, instead of having all that weight, they can just make it into, this is a thing that we did with Skinner, yay! So what I want to do is I want to go through this album. I've been thinking about Framing Devices, how to talk about yet another great The Smile album. And so I came up with props. And what I want to do is I want to go through each song and sort of show the way that I interpret. And this could all be wrong, right? I'm a dude in his bathrobe on his back porch. I woke up early this morning. It's Sunday morning. I woke up at 6 a.m. to record this video. My family's asleep, okay? I got my baby monitor. If it goes off, this video is going to have to end real quick, all right? So I want to create some kind of visual to help you understand. So this is the way that I'm seeing it. I see these artists as pulling in different directions together, and each song has either a mixture of these three elements or one element taking the lead. And I think that's what makes this whole album so agreeable, is that it feels like it's a great blend of those competing instincts. All right, so most obviously, we got Tommytown, okay? So some songs are going to be Tommytown. That's where you're talking about the bloopy synths, the haunting melodies. I'd also maybe say kind of bass-led songs, okay? But maybe instead of Tommytown, we're going to Johnnyville, all right? We're talking orchestral soundtracks, real orchestras, not computers, not bloopy bloops, Tommy. We're talking real orchestras and possibly Baroque guitar lines, maybe some inspiration from some of the Middle Eastern and African musicians who he works with. And then finally, we have the third one. We have the Skinner jams, all right? So this is how I really see the band in general, is that this is the reason the band exists. Just a great drummer who can make ridiculously good drum lines that can be a way for these two to sort of get out of Tommytown and out of Johnnyville and just jam together. Just be a groove machine with their hot new girlfriend, okay? So it's the combination of these three things. Am I proud of these little puppets? You're damn straight I am. Have I stared at them and been like, damn, Sky, you nailed it? You know how hard it is to figure out how to turn Johnny Green? He was easy, actually. Do you even know what Tom Skinner looks like? It's not a bad drawing, okay? So, like all of it together. And the way I like to imagine it, I might have even used this metaphor before. I don't know. You have to forgive me. I talk a lot. But it feels to me like if in 1978, Paul McCartney and John Lennon got together and made an album with, like, Billy Preston. Just like, we're not the Beatles. Get that out of your head. We're just the two main forces behind the Beatles and this dude. And that's why I really want... This video is going to be long. I don't know how long it's going to be. You can tell me. I don't edit. So you tell me in the comments, how long is this video? We have to really try to appreciate what we're getting here. Now, the album is called The Cutouts, which is ironic to me because this feels to me like the most cohesive of the Smile album. I feel like it's the album that is the least dominated by sort of Skinner jams, by just sort of like, let's get together and just start playing. You play a drum beat and I'll play some... And Tom, always go nutty on the bass or on the whatever, right? Like that kind of jammy, loose feel. This feels the least like that, despite the fact it's called Cutouts. It's basically a B-sides album, more or less, kind of. Apparently Tom said in an interview, these are the ones we haven't yet released, we either haven't recorded or are working on. That's just the basic idea. But I don't know how they managed to do it. Maybe it's the production of Sam Petz Davies, who I've talked about a lot, who I think is a spectacular producer, who I think deserves a lot more credit. See my last review for my sort of analysis on Sam Pettis Davies. But for whatever it is, these cutouts, these leftover cutouts. Oh my God, I just realized these are cutouts. That wasn't even on purpose. Damn. Yeah, so to me, it feels the most like a band. And instead of making me sad, which sometimes the Smile stuff makes me sad because it means that we're further away from Radiohead. I don't think it is. I think the more successful the Smile is, the more Johnny and Tommy can hang out and do other stuff. When they come together with the full band, it will be more meaningful and more free. Like, I feel like they are going through a process of breaking out of the weight of the greatest band in the world. Man, Tom Skinner should record an album with Daft Punk. That'd be great. Just be awesome. Just Tom Skinner should just go around to all the great bands, you know, of the 90s and just sort of like free them up. Not you, Oasis. You don't count. All right, so I'm going to go through the album. Normally I do like a example song, but I can't do that. I have to take through the whole album because, again, to me, this album feels like a very well-crafted, intentional piece of art. If you like what you see, smash the like bucket, subscribe. You can put an AVAA. My hands are cold out here, folks. It's fall, okay? I'm not joking. I am in my bathrobe and yellow Crocs. This is true. All right, so you need to smash the like bucket for me, okay? I'm out here working. The opening song is called Foreign Spies. Okay? This is an interesting beginning because it's basically just straight Tommytown. Now, it's not as Tommytown as, you know, a solo project, but we have these lush 70s sounding synthesizers. It sounds almost like a Kubrick soundtrack, you know, maybe something by Wendy Carlos. And then he's singing. I have a question for you. This is a straight question for you, okay? Has this man ever sung this well before in the history of his recording career? Seriously listen to the words coming out of that little pursed mouth, would you? I didn't mean that to sound so weird. I think so. I think this is the best he's ever sung. Like, his vibrato is insane on here. And it's, you know, he's not like Figaro, you know, but yeah. And then, like, he takes you through this whole verse, and then the very last word, he gets that sort of I will style vocal fry. This is an unbelievable vocal performance from Tom York. I think it's the best he's ever sounded. And super delicate, and these, like, synthesizers are far away. And once again, we have this issue where there's no drums. So I did this for my last review, where I dramatized what it would be like, okay? Sorry, I didn't cut him out, okay? This is Phil Selway, the drummer for Radiohead, and this is how I imagine he would feel talking to, to Tom Skinner. Oi, they replaced you, didn't you? With the feckin' robots. Oh, no, it's okay, it was just one song. Yeah, that's how it starts, just one song. And then all of a sudden you play along to a dang click track, 15 Step My Ass. Oh, it's okay. I'm sure they're not going to keep replacing me. It's just one song. It's not just one song, is it? Feckin' robots. It's not. You can... Okay, you've now unliked the video. Now you can like the video again. I'm not bringing back little cuck Phil again. Okay, so still nice little fractured bell sounds. And then these lyrics. In a beautiful world paved with gold, but who's counting way up there? And they're grabbing kitchen knives every time our backs are turned. Foreign spies. I love it. I love this turn because the song feels like you know what it's about. And then he just starts talking about foreign spies. Like, why is it going into foreign spies? Why is Tom so fascinated by, you know, Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy? I'm not quite sure what this spy represents. I think maybe... Are you a Radiohead scholar? I'm going to give you a paper idea. I'd like some credit in the beginning, but you don't have to, you know, cite me as an author or whatever. There's a lot of, I think, Cold War PTSD in Tom York's lyrics, where he writes about the feeling of growing up, feeling like the world might end at any time because of nuclear war. And if you didn't grow up in that time, you don't understand, right? So maybe you grew up in the 9/11 era, that's fine. But like, I legitimately grew up thinking nuclear war was going to happen. Probably because my dad thought nuclear war was going to happen. He was certain it was. I said, well, why don't we have a bomb shelter? And he said to me, when I was 8 years old, I don't want to live in a world that's had a nuclear war. Thanks, Pa. Cool, man. Yeah, no, put that thought in my head. So we'll either die or we'll be the zombies. Like just weirdo mutant flesh burning off our skin. Cool. So, obviously 5-minute warning, 4-minute warning, however many minute warning, one of my favorite Radiohead songs, the title of which I don't know, emphasizes that. But even this foreign spies idea, I think he's really kind of stuck in this place. But then the end, there's almost like Christmas-like sound, with these almost like harpsichord sounds, and it falls apart, and it feels like it's going to end in chaos, but then it doesn't, and it reforms in the lyric, "It's a Beautiful World." So what I love about this is it's not actually that depressing. Hear me out. Because he's saying, in a beautiful world, all these terrible things happen, right? Like grabbing kitchen knives in a beautiful world. But it is a beautiful world. So even with the imperfections, it is kind of a beautiful world. I think we're supposed to think about the song. I think to myself, what a beautiful world. That song is so ubiquitous. I've heard it so many times. I thought it had no effect on me. And then I just randomly found it and started playing it on guitar down in the basement. I was with my 2-year-old. And, she's just running around playing with the guitar pedals, whatever. And I started singing the song. And I started crying. This song's so beautiful. Like, you just lose track of it because you hear it all the time. And it's in all these movies. And they use it to, sell laundry detergent. But Jesus, what a song. Well, I think to myself, what a beautiful world. Anyways, I don't think he's being purely sarcastic here. I think he's talking about the difficulty of the beautiful world. And then at the end, it's like a wild funeral march with slight vocoder sounds. And then I looked up online, and it said the whole thing's actually based on something that Johnny did. Some kind of like orchestral thing he did. So maybe this is actually more of a collaboration than it feels. Because, hey, every time I bring out the cutouts, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is just my interpretation. This is just how I read things. Maybe you're one of those dudes on the Radiohead Reddit, and you're just flaming me in the comments. Yo, props to you. If you're flaming me and you're saying, actually, Tom York released this when he played in Mallorca in 2008, and you're a complete total moron. Tell me I'm an idiot because I missed the stuff that Tom York played in Mallorca in 2008, okay? Actually, he played in Mallorca in 2007. All right, do it. I love it. I'm not even being sarcastic. I love it. I'm just not that guy. I'm not that guy, pal. But I respect that guy, pal. One song in, and then we get to Instant Psalm. I heard this song, and you know that meme of SpongeBob with his headphones in and he's floating above the bed, and everyone goes, "What songs got you like this?" Oh, this has got me like that. So props to these guys, okay? This song is it's just pure beauty. It's just pure Tommy and Johnny. But what's great is it's not Tommy and Johnny in 2002. It's Tommy and Johnny now, okay? We're in Johnnyville. We're in Tommytown. It starts off, and listen, every single time there are strings on this album, I said the same thing. What the hell? Like, seriously, what the hell? I don't know how it shocked me so much. And then we get this really bass-led groove, and just the way this is all put together just feels so Tom-like and gloaming and gorgeous. And even this song, I apologize to Cuckville down there, but it also, I mean, listen, he's down there. He's down there with this just really great killer drum line. And it's this pairing of this voice where we have the acoustic guitar. And I don't know if this is on purpose. Do you remember the song Faust Arp off of In Rainbows? It's like the 10th best song on the album, but it's like one of the 10 best songs of all time because that album is so good, you know what I mean? The video for it is like Johnny and Tom like just in a field, you know, with acoustic guitar. And it's just, that's how this feels to me. Like the sound of the hands on the frets moving up and down the frets, and the readiness of his voice. Oh, so beautiful. To me, this is along with Read the Room as the Smile songs that reach the heights, not good enough to be a Radiohead song, as good as any Radiohead song. Okay, I think the rest of their stuff, you know, I think all Radiohead associated stuff belongs in a sort of great A tier, but some of it makes the S tier, and this is it. And these lyrics, we're overflow in a hurricane, we feel no pain, it's so close we disappear through this narrow gap that you leave us in. There's a hurricane right now, and a lot of people are dying. And 2005. You know, Hurricane Katrina. There have been a couple songs about it, but the amount of death and destruction that caused due to poor civic planning and governmental reaction is pretty amazing. And the hurricanes are increasing because of global warming. And that's where we are. Like, Tommy is, I think, upping his lyrical game. I think he's upping his lyrical game. His doom and gloom, all about the impending doom of our planet and our room, is getting better. Like, what a image. We are overflowing a hurricane. We feel no pain because, like, they don't care about our pain. We disappear through this narrow gap that you leave us in. What a just... Whew. While holding the sides like a wind blows on emptiness, yes is not a real yes. Loneliness is a way to drown. Just how isolated and forgotten people are in this whole system. In the hyper-capitalist, anti-environmentalist hellscape that we live in, that people are just overflow in a hurricane. Just like the water that just goes over the river and just kind of sloshes down the street, that's just who we are. Reminds me of The Eraser, you know, the image of London kind of being drowned. More kind of discordant madness at the end. And this is where I'm going to say something I never thought I'd say. I hope we get another Smile album before we get a new Radiohead album. I know you just threw something at the computer or your phone or your TV. Some people watch my videos on TV. Weird. My dad used to do that. I ever tell you that? I'd come in and visit him. I'd bring him his newspapers or whatever, full Better Call Saul style. And he'd have he had like a 75-inch TV, and he'd be watching my face. I'd come in and he wouldn't turn it off. I'd have to be like, Pa, we didn't blow up today. Yeah, so like this song is one of the new songs. It's come out since they released the last album 8 minutes ago. And if this is the direction that the Smile is going, and I want more of it. I don't actually want Radiohead right now. If I could have more of this song, just this song, if I could have more of this song, please keep going. Keep doing solo projects, Phil. Man, I love Phil. This is not meant to be an insulting drawing, by the way. I have a lot of sympathy for the man. Have you ever tried to play, like, Phil's drum lines? He has a lot of great drum lines. Okay. Then we get to the next song, Zero Sum. And this is like, you know, this is just that kind of the Skinner Jam feel. This is the general feel of Smile. Just like a cool line. In this case, it seems like it's mainly led by Johnny, who's just got this crazy guitar line. You know the song Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses? Super catchy line. That song started off because Slash, the guitar player, full name Slash Weiss, he came up with this idea of just doing a guitar exercise and putting that on the song. So he was like he was just there in the studio, and he was just playing this little thing, and then, I don't know, the band said, hey, that's cool, let's make a song out of it. Zero Sum is like that, except totally Johnny style. Just like the craziest guitar line you've ever heard. And just the fun of this song. This laughing guitar line almost sounds like tap licks, and then this impossibly cool groove that comes underneath it. Just, oh my God, and Tommy's barely even singing. He sings the word clipped tongue, and you notice how clipped the tones are. It's kind of sketchy and undercooked. And you think, okay, cool, it's just a jam song. It's just a jam song. But then you hear these low horns come in and give it weight. Whoa! They constantly do that throughout the album. We're like, oh, this is just kind of a sketchy thing. And then they're like, whoosh, no, it's not. Blah. And I want to give you a message out there, okay? In the event that you, like Will Ferrell, need more cowbell, this is the song for you. The cowbell on this song is so insane. like Skitter is such a good drummer, okay? He's such a good drummer that, like, even thinking about trying to play just the cowbell as well as he's playing it now, as syncopatedly fascinating as he is now, would take you like 10,000 hours of cowbell work, okay? You can, just try. Listen to the song and just try to, like, tap out the cowbell for the entire time. It's just great. Also, I'm not sponsored, but I do have a sponsor for this video. Hello, drummers. Are you thinking about buying a cowbell? When you do, make sure you buy the smallest cowbell. Listen to your older brother. When he tells you, when you say, "Hey Ward, should I get a cowbell?" And he says, "Yes, Guy, but make sure you get the smallest one." You don't mean the smallest one, right? Yes, I mean the smallest one. Gotcha. And then you go down to Daddy's Junkie Music on Boylston Avenue in Boston. It's not there anymore, don't look. And you get a cow, and then you see the little tiny one. You think, that's too small. I need a bigger cowbell. And then you get a cowbell so big, it's just like a normal cowbell, but it's too loud. You can't play it. And then for the rest of your life in that band, you never once play the cowbell, because every time you play, they go, "What the fuck? Dude, knock it off with the cowbell." So that's what I'm sponsored by. Buythesmallestcowbell.com /net. And here we got the lyrics. A while ago, my son took economics in his high school. And I gave him a challenge, and he didn't take it. And now my daughter is taking economics in high school, and she's not taking it. I think you could write an entire Tom York lyric sheet just from your notebook in economics class, because so much of his lyrics are about the sort of disaffected, dehumanizing way that people think about money. And so I think the term zero sum is that, because capitalism ends up being a sort of zero sum game where somebody has to have everything and somebody has to have nothing. And, like, it doesn't have to be this way. Like, we don't have, like, this is a choice that we make. You know, I watched this association football YouTuber called HITC7s, and he had this whole thing about this guy Jim Ratcliffe, who's this billionaire who bought part of Manchester United, and he was going on to this point that, like, this guy is trying to get Manchester, the city, to pay for the new stadium, because the old stadium is nasty and had floods all the time. It's hurricane overflow, and he made the point that this guy had moved to Monaco to not pay taxes. So he's literally asking the taxpayers to pay for something for him when he doesn't even pay taxes in the country where he's getting them to pay the taxes. Like, he wouldn't even pay his share of this thing. And he, like, just bought a second multi-100-foot yacht, you know? It doesn't have to be this way. Like, rich assholes don't have to be this rich. You can still be impossibly rich and an asshole, but without... Anyways, I'm not telling you anything you don't know here. A zero-sum moot point, cutout trying to fill the void, a shit grin, a performance, a tipping point, a loose banister, the physical lines, a forced thought. That's a lot to burn for no reason. I feel like this is burning money, burning resources, burning everything. Because that's the thing. The super hyper-duper rich, for whatever reason, if they have $1 billion, don't want to pay $1 million in taxes. So I can't explain it. Thinking all the ways the system will provide Windows 95. Hey, most of my audience is younger, okay? Cool. What's up? You weren't around probably for Windows 95. It was a big deal. When Windows 95 came out, it was a big deal. Okay, that was my, senior year of high school? I remember not understanding what Windows was, but I understood it was a big deal. And I think he's choosing this because... this kind of era of hyper-wealth and zero-sum thinking, obviously it was born when capitalism was created, right? But it was really exacerbated by Ronald Reagan in 1980. And then when the Democrats finally got power in 1992, instead of pushing against that system, they doubled down. They tripled down. Clinton was like, hey, I like all this free market capitalism. Let's amp it up. This wealth gap there's a lot of room to build in this wealth gap. So to me, Windows 95, it's chosen partly because it's this weird system and because, Bill Gates sort of represents this kind of how rich can you possibly be. I don't know. I think that's why he's choosing Windows 95, because it's a reminder of the excess of the 90s, and it's a reminder of the kind of weird corporate excitement we all had for Windows 95. I'm 3 songs in? Colors Fly. I don't know why they misspelled it. There's a U in there. And this is maybe a triple threat right here. You have this sort of funky marching band, like sound on these drums, and this kind of gloaming that Tom likes to put into his solo work. And then this just really Arabic sounding guitar, or Middle Eastern sounding guitar here. And this is just, what a song, because they're just, really though, I think the leader is the Skinner Jams. It's just the fun that they're having, because it's really like, they're really a jam band, They're a jam band that's pretending not to be a jam band. They're a jam band that the front people are like 2 of the most precise, like, visionaries you can possibly imagine being in a jam band. And this crazy drum line, and this bass clarinet. I looked it up. I always call clarinets oboes. I'm not doing it this time, okay? Clarinetists, stand up. I got one right. It's a bass clarinet. That's that thing I'm talking about. It seems like they're just kind of jamming and they bring in something super low. And this drum line, I said it's like, I feel like Skinner has this almost Keith Moon-like ability to play drum lines that should not work, that should not hold together, but do. So he's sort of like a Mitch Mitchell, Keith Moon hybrid, if that kind of makes sense to you. Because Mitch Mitchell is Jimi Hendrix's drummer, he's just a jazz drummer in a rock band. He's like, at a certain point, they must have been like, Mitch, yeah, this is a rock band. Gotcha. And this orchestral growth under the last verse and this loud, wacky crescendo. The first time I listened to it, I wrote more forgettable. And then later I went back on my notes and wrote, are you crazy, former me? Just the head nodding madness of this basically polyrhythmic jam. I'm not really sure the message except to say, let your colors fly. I think it's about the fierce individualism that we're encouraged to have as people in our free society, and how that individualism might come at the detriment of a collective society. I don't know. Next track is called Eyes and Mouth. Skinner Jams right here, This is just another kind of Johnny style guitar exercise. I've been teaching my 16-year-old daughter how to play drums. And it's funny because she's like, but how do I do something better than just... I'm like, well, just do that first. Yeah, but how do other people do other cool stuff? I'm like, well, they practice a lot. Like, and basically, like, that's, for all intents and purposes, and all intensive purposes, both. If you learn how to play drums and just learn 99.9% of all rock music, you're done. Okay? You're done. You figured it out. But some drummers are able to go way beyond that, and just how exciting. Like, if I could have a stem of just the drum line, you'd have a song. But that's what you think. And then all of a sudden, bam, or bam, this piano starts like playing these jazzy chords, and then there's this harmony where he harmonizes with himself. And again, I'm SpongeBob floating above his bed. And you feel like at a certain point then you're like, it's just a groove. These guitar notes scaling up some kind of impossible stairway, just getting higher and higher. It's just a groove. And then there's this choir that sings underneath it. And just listen to the way Skinner plays the floor tom. No, okay. It's confusing. This is Tom Skinner, Tom York, floor tom. But the floor tom. Not Tom York on the floor. Well, maybe he was. I mean, the actual, like, it's just great. The lyrics here feel, to me, the biggest problem I have with The Smile is the same problem I have with most jam bands, which is that most lyrics are just come up with by the singer while they're just playing together. I've told the story a few times. One time my band, we decided that we would just improvise an entire concert. We just showed up and tried to write songs on the spot. Our lead singer, not knowing what to do, only sang about wizards and dragons for the entire night. And I'm sitting there playing drums, Brad's playing bass. I was just like, all right, Keith. It was a show at Mass Art College in 1996. If I could go back in time and see any concert, I wouldn't go back and see, The Who at Isle of Wight or Hendrix at Monterey. I'd go back and see that concert because I just love to see my face. Like, he's singing about feckin' dragons again. So sometimes the lyrics feel like placeholders, but that's fine because at its heart, this album is so much just about jamming. Then we get to Don't Get Me Started. I did a whole video about this song. You should check it out. I talked a lot about how Thom Yorke often sings from the perspective of Winston or Big Brother and then interchanges between them. I thought that was a really good point. I think this was a really promising indicator that this album is going to be a lot more of a Tommy and Johnny feeling. This was the first time that Phil got to say, "Feckin' robots," Great song. Then we get to Tiptoe. And I love Tiptoe because this feels the most clearly like just Johnnyville. This feels to me the most clearly like that he really is taking the lead here. This piano, like smoky jazz lounge, and then these strings, these two notes. I have to tell you, I went absolutely out of my mind trying to place where these notes come from because they're just two notes, and like I was just saying that, like, I know these notes. I know it's from a movie. It's from a movie that I love, but I don't know how. I emailed my friend Ron. How was this from? I don't know. And I think I figured out where it's from. I think it's from this beginning. It's not exactly the same, but it's the same kind of feeling. The beginning of the boardroom scene from Errand Boy by Jerry Lewis. If you've never seen this is like one of the best comedy sketches literally of all time. So I'm going to show you only the not funny parts. But this kind of weird interstitial bit here where they're getting set up, this is what it reminds me of. Tiptoe. Anyways, then it gets kind of settled in and does the whole sketch, and you've probably seen it before. You've never seen it before. Okay, watch it if you've never seen it before. It's beautiful. But not the rest of that part, but just the beginning, that little interstitial bit. So this is my task to you. I want you to come back to this video in the future when you've watched more movies and give me more examples of this kind of interstitial point where just these two kind of notes are played, because it feels like Greenwood is like mixing these, is like really trying to sound like a soundtrack in this way. Beautiful lyrics here, the melody. Okay, here's a weird thing. Okay, hey, Radiohead fans, wake up. Stop playing Subway Surfer. Listen to me. Has there ever been another time where Thom Yorke has matched his melody so closely to what the piano is playing underneath or what the keyboard is playing underneath? It's like note by note. It's weird. It's cool. But I can't think of another time where he's done it. But I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. We are just baggage with no label. You will find us in the rubble when you people tiptoe far away from the windows. Weird imagery, baggage with no label. I think his lyric writing is getting better. My hands are frozen. You have to use your hands to hit the like button because it is actually like legitimately cold out here. I know you see the sun. It looks beautiful. Season's changing, and so am I. Whew. Then we get to, what, the best song on the album? Maybe? No. The second song is the best song on the album. But we have the best example of all three together. Okay? It seems like it's all based on an impossible Skinner drum groove. It's got the Tommy bloops and blips and crazy singing. And then later we have some amazing Johnny-style guitar lines, okay? I don't even know how to explain this 4 minutes and 29 seconds without taking 4 hours and 29 minutes. Like, it starts off with this ridiculously tight snare roll, okay? And then it snaps together, and then all of a sudden this, like, pulsing synthesizer from the other room pops up, okay? And it's just like this really killer snare and hi-hat groove, and then it kind of fades away, and then it's just singing with this low synth bass, a black hole at the center of the galaxy, kind of a pause, being pulled down. This electronic percussion comes up, and then he harmonizes with himself, nice and easy, as not as a nil, as a no. When he harmonizes with himself, oh my God, it's... Where has this trick been? How does he keep coming up with new tricks? Do you see how lucky we are to have these artists who are not just sitting there cashing checks and waiting to do reunion tours? Okay? Right? Imagine if Radiohead were Oasis, you know? Imagine how much we would lose if they were as just callously bereft of the spark, you know? One more step till you finally freeze. The drums come back and go away, like lowers and changes keys, and you're going to give us the slip tonight. And then I had a realization. I figured you out. Because the drums had this little reverb on the snare at a certain point. I'm like, oh, that's like a reggae style reverb sound. And then I listen to that bass. The bass, the keyboard thing is happening. Tommy's been listening to some dancehall reggae. I'm going to include a link in the description to a song called My Weapon by Ninja Man, okay? Produced by Mr. Do. And it's just a typical style of that kind of dancehall reggae in the early 80s or early to mid 80s. This kind of bass line is the bass line that's happening all the time. You thought it was this kind of avant-garde, but he's just trying to do 80s dancehall keyboard bass lines. I love my life. I need to say that right now. Not only because I love my kids and my wife and all that stuff, and because I have a beautiful backyard and I'm extremely lucky in all those ways, but the fact that for the past 2 days I've done fucking nothing but listen to this album, which I love, by these artists who I've loved and made me so happy my whole life. Like, I remember walking around in the Carpinteria campground listening to Kid A when I was turning 30 and like sort of thinking about my life and just having this insane connection. Actually, it must have been amnesia because I was listening to Spinning Plates. And just like the feelings I've had that these men, these artists, these geniuses have given me throughout the years. And now I'm 47 on the back of my porch. All I do is think about this stuff. And I try to come up with thoughts. And you're watching me talk about it. It is just the greatest thing. And this is why I want to be positive. Because I agree with Beato. You know, it sucks. All these things are terrible. And AI is terrible. And all these bands are terrible. But like, whatever the hell they're doing to us, whatever the hell the ozone is doing and the free market capitalists are doing, whatever it is, we still have Cutouts by The Smile. We still have that. And I haven't even talked about the new sound by Jordy Grape yet. I haven't even talked about that new Rome Streets album yet. Those are 3 things that came out this week. This is why we just have to just celebrate what we have in addition to mourning what we're losing. Because we keep having songs like The Slip by The Smile. It literally makes life better that these things exist for us. We can enjoy them as much as we can enjoy a sunrise. Anyways, was that too much? You tell me in the comments. Was that too much? Was my little I love life rant too much? I just need to say it because I feel it. Besides, I'm like losing... I barely feel my hands anymore. My coffee's cold. I have to get myself ramped up. And then just as though Johnny is sitting there and he's going, hey guys, what if I put a The Benz guitar line on this? That would be mad. That would be right mad. You'd be off your knickers. I don't know how British people talk. You know, it is just this total funk guitar line. And then the kind of... So again, I have such a long history with Radiohead. You know, I saw them on MTV. I saw Creep, and I bought Pablo Honey, and then I bought the Bends when someone told me it was good. And there's that line. I think it's at the end of Just the guitar solo that never actually happens, where he starts playing it but doesn't actually achieve it. And that little moment of restraint, that lack of a guitar solo, was to me as revolutionary as the on Creep. Like, that was the thing that made me realize these guys are on a different level, man. Oh, and this has that kind of like guitar solo that isn't, you know, it has that, oh my God, and then it cuts out to just keyboards and then more drums. You're going to bring the world down around your ears while the temperature grows ugly, because we're still dealing with the main thing they talk about. The two best jam bands in the world mostly talk about global warming, King Gizzard and The Smile. And then he harmonizes with himself, staring into infinity as if you cannot see. It isn't as if waltz. It's this, eventually these doubled guitars, one in each channel. Don't know, it was just a question. We are so in trouble. We are so in trouble. One more step till you finally freeze, and then it just jams out at the end. And I wish the song were 11 minutes long. I wish it were 12 minutes long. I wish it were an hour long, because I would just love to live in this jam. And then it just has this full, it stops. You think it's all done, and then the keyboards, but no, it's just. Oh my God! Sorry, I have to check my baby monitor. I've been yapping. All right, she's in the same position she was in when I started the video. Nice. Next song is called No Words. The next song, no, I'm kidding. No Words, you know, this is, we're sort of kind of back here, you know, a little more jammy. But then it starts with arpeggiated keyboards. Feckin' robots, you know, this automated, compressed, blown out sounds, almost like a steel drum sound on a keyboard. And you think it's just going to be that, but then the drums come in. He's such a good drummer. Oh my God. Oh, he's so good. The way he comes in and like catches up to, like, I can't even really properly describe it. There's this sort of automated thing and it's playing, and the way that Skinner, he like crawls up behind it like a cat, you know, like that Cat in the Shack commercial, you know, he's like going back and forth, you know, and he's sitting there and he's ready, and he pounces and he catches up to the beat, and it's like he just sinks his teeth into the jugular of this keyboard little thing, and all of a sudden the keyboard thing's done, and now it's a drum song. He's like, he beats the feckin' robots, you know? And then the bass is super hard and awesome. My theory is this is double bass playing. I think they're both playing bass. I've talked about it a lot. I think Tom is the only lead singer. I think he wants to be a bass player. That's my main thing, is he just loves bass. He listens to his solo work. It's like, as much as we talk about the bleeps and bloops, it's bass too. He just loves using bass. So I get the sense of them playing together, which then makes me think of the song Big Bottom by Spinal Tap, where all three of them are playing bass, and then it makes me happy because then I think about Spinal Tap. The one thing I don't like about this whole album is the blared out synths on this song. It feels like a little too much. Devoured by Ants, the slim pickings from Click Monkeys, By Their Ropes We Hang, No Words. So I like this because, you know, Click Monkeys, I think a lot about Click Monkeys. I think a lot about the fact, as much as nuclear war is a threat to our civilization, I think clicks are an equal threat, because the search for clicks is so amoral, and human instincts are so base, and tribalism is so easy to pander to, that as time goes on, the computer ends up being an engine to help fascists. Because the search for clicks fundamentally leads to our base instincts, to the thing that we'll click on. And those base instincts are instinctively tribal. And then those tribal instincts will keep on being abused. And then all of a sudden, what happened in 2016 just happens everywhere. And we're just going to end up in that place. So, damn it. Okay? Damn it. Damn it. It sucks. But the problem is, you know, you got to get your bag. Everyone says, you got to get your bag. Hey, maybe you don't got to get your bag. Hey, if your bag is off of human suffering, don't get your bag. If your bag is off of getting people upset and tribal, don't get your bag. Don't get your bag. I'm sorry. I said it. Don't. Okay? Can that be a new thing? Can we make a t-shirt that says don't get your bag? You know? Like, just let's get rid of that. You know? Like, figure out a way to live on planet Earth. Can that be a thing instead of get your bag? Because figuring out a way to live on planet Earth, anyways, it's easy for me to say. You know, I have my bag, or I have gainful employment and a good union. Okay, so it's easy for me to say. Anyways. You know, it's just like you see your favorite YouTubers who are super principled, and then they sit there and they hawk vitamin supplements, and you're like, what the hell am I watching? Why is this happening? Why is Cody Johnson selling supplements? Like, is this really okay? Is he not doing everything that he said that we can't do? Like, is this really okay? Is it really okay? I know he has a staff and he has to feed them and everyone has to get their bag. But is it really okay? The click monkeys, by their ropes we hang. We hang from the click monkeys. Jake Paul. No words, I think, is also good because it's like in the light of a tragedy, we always say no words. And then all these ideas of good intentions. I think the good intentions are getting your bag. And then the album ends as it began with Tommytown. But all the Tommytown on this album feels very connected. It feels collaborative. This feels like a collaboration between these two. Feckin' robots, not really for poor Skinner. But this is the beauty of this project. This is John and Paul making an album in 1978, not calling it the Beatles. Droney feedback sound, and then that Faust Arp style guitar. You're falling on your ass, falling through the glass, and everybody's laughing, Body's laughing. What a beautiful idea. Calling a song Body's Laughing and having it be short for Everybody's Laughing. But also because I think, you know, it's trying to divide the human, you know, the spirit and the flesh, the soul and the body. And in general, it's your soul that laughs, it's your spirit that laughs, but here it's the body's laughing. It's a great sort of erasure of the sort of sacred and the divine, giving the divine function. I mean, the divine, the sacred and the profane. It's giving the sacred function to the profane body, you know? That's how I read it. And after the title of the song, hey, could I maybe do a little egg shaker? Of course. Feckin' robots. But don't worry, he's going to come in later, and it's not quite a jam, but he's going to do some insane snare work, and Tom's going to do some more of his absolute wild singing, and the bridge is just going to be bass and the double guitar, and the dogs are barking, cymbals crashing, tongues are lashing, slow convulsions, everybody's laughing because we can't control it anymore. That's what's fascinating, is that, like, did that ever happen to you in school where you started laughing at the teacher and you couldn't stop? You know, like this idea of we can't control this laughter anymore, but it's our bodies that are laughing, and it's this kind of dark, sinister way, you know, that sort of negativity. Maybe we're still on the click monkeys, you know, because everybody laughs. You know, everybody's laughing. Everybody's laughing at they're eating dogs, they're eating cats. It's hilarious. It's hilarious that people who have had to go through what Haitians have had to go through more once they have legally found purchase in the United States. Let's make a fun song about it because it's funny. The guy with the eyeliner said the thing. It's not a tragedy. We don't have any actual responsibility. We can laugh at it. Everybody's laughing. Okay. Haunting synthesizers and then the drums and the bass with this pitched down chorus with this haunting take us out. And listen, I think it's just double Tom singing here, but with the choir, with the chorus, it makes me feel like it's all three of them together. So there's my review. I'm gonna check my monitor. Oh, she's moving around. She's got a stuffed animal, a little rabbit. We call it Zeka. It means rabbit in Serbian. So she's thrashing Zeka around. Now that is Professor Skylore. What is the name of the stuffed animal in his 2-year-old crib? I want to thank my Patreons. They helped me to buy music. I did go to the Record Archive yesterday in Rochester, New York, to buy this album. They did not have it on vinyl. I might end up buying it on CD, because I hate the double albums anyways. But they helped me to buy music and diapers, of which I need both. Eventually, I'm going to just be buying music. But it's awesome. It's really awesome. It's really awesome. Because you know what? It means I don't have to get the bag, you know? I don't have to get the bag because I got support like this. I can keep doing 58-minute reviews of a freaking album and I get support. I also ask my Patreons if they would like a specific shout out. And on this album, John Coffey, Dave Dinesh, Harlan T, Zach, and Hunter Tice all said they would like a shout out. And guess what? They just got one. Came really close to farting when I did that. That would have been funny but embarrassing. And I didn't. Don't even rewind it. You won't hear it. All right. Well, until next time, there's the camera.